how this starting five of offensive linemen looks so far? I know you're rotating a little bit at right tackle, but your general thoughts on where the team, your group is at.
Yeah, a week into it, I'm pretty pleased. The guys are working hard. They're focused. We have a pretty quick accelerated install because we did it in the spring, including the defense of the look. So guys are not ahead of schedule, but right where you hoped they would be. Veteran group, they're doing good. Of course, we still got some rust we're banging off, and we're going to have more opportunities to do when we put the pads on to really fine-tune that stuff. Like I mentioned before, you get things you can do in pads. You can't really so much do in just shorts. But I'm pleased where guys are at. I like where Jonah's at, switching over to the right his very first week. Looks like he's been there for a couple of years. He looks very natural. It shows me that, one, he's talented, he's athletic, and he's been working on it. So it's been good competition with him and Jackson. Those guys are competing, doing a real nice job.
For Jonah specifically, since you brought him up, I was going to work left to right, but we're going from right to left now.
Okay.
What is the biggest, I asked Zach about it the other day, but for someone like Jonah where it's not a rookie and you're trying to see if he can play both sides, like Jonah is a proven player that played at a high level at left tackle. Mm-hmm. So for him to switch sides, what are the main things you need to see in practice from him that will make you feel comfortable that like he's got it on the right side, he's going to be fine?
Yeah, so when you switch sides, your anchor leg, your power legs, your inside leg, so that's switching. Your dominant hand is your inside hand, so that's switching. So just getting comfortable from a pass protection standpoint, being able to redirect and anchor on bull rush, redirect on an inside move efficiently, not be awkward while at the same time you're able to use your hands. His hand strikes are backwards. He's used to using his outside hand and bringing his right hand underneath on the left side. Now he's flipping that on some of the hand strikes that we're incorporating teaching. So those are just getting used to that. And every layer of pads come on, now it's going to be more violent collisions, requiring them to sit and anchor, be more powerful and more natural. So the more reps you can get at doing that, you'll see us use bungees, sandbags, maybe even some med ball type things to help them kind of incorporate that without pads on. So now when the pads come on, we get more reps of actual having to load and stress a new power leg, inside leg, a new inside power hand, all that good stuff. So those are the things you really want to get comfortable with and make it a seamless transition.
Well, so I guess it's obviously you would want any player to be back healthy for training camp, but for that specific point when you're talking about he's going to have to go through maybe some growing pains in practice to get used to that he is fully healthy and able to participate in training camp is probably a big boost for you guys.
Yeah, so I mean we have a little we have a nice schedule that allows guys, especially like him, to not miss as much time maybe because of the days off and the timing of our padded practices. Our head coach does a great job taking all that in consideration, especially in modern day football. You really got to be conscious of that. He's outstanding at that. But like you mentioned, we got to bring him along. I don't want to say slow, but smart when we bring him on. But at the same time, he needs the reps. And the only way you can get good at that stuff, get callous and get used to it, is going through a little bit of the pounding. And some of that might be a little day of frustration, whereas it's still, honing that skill set on the right side. And that's okay. That's just part of the process. But like I mentioned before, I expected to see a little bit more of that early, even in shorts. I haven't seen it. My hat's off to him. It shows he's worked hard and shows you what a talented player he is. So kudos to Jonah.
Then I'll go over to Ted Karras.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I did not mean to drop that on you.
Catch.
How about that? Come that for no line guy.
Exactly.
Quick hands. Switch hands.
The 49ers throw to you back in the day?
Yeah, I wish. God, I told them all the time.
You obviously were able to see what Ted was able to come in his first, seasons and really shore things up. But what's the next step for Ted and his progression?
Great question. Really understanding at a deeper, higher level the offense, understanding formations and motions and what that does to the defense, to understand angles and how to redirect the group, really understanding those things and understanding maybe more efficiently some unique ID adjustments where we can make some of those exceptions to the rule type stuff, like we're in the low red zone. The defenses play differently because the field's shorter, so we could cheat or modify how we ID things to maximize where the run's actually going to go and not waste ourselves on a backer that's loose on an edge for a coverage responsibility. Him understanding these little nuances, that you're like, I wish he would understand that. during the game, we can make that little tweak as opposed to wait until we see a picture on the sideline. So he's really on top of that stuff, understanding, wants to know these things. So that's really his biggest next step, is understanding that deeper the offense, kind of like what the quarterbacks have to know. He's kind of on their same level. It's like, oh yeah, he can see it in his mind what's going to happen because we got this motion and shift and how they're going to respond to it and get us all coordinated, faster, cleaner.
And then last one for me, and then you guys can jump in whenever. Orlando Brown, I know it's only a small sample size, but what have you been able to take away from what he's shown you on the practice field that you weren't able to see maybe in the off season when you guys were just doing smaller sample size things? What have you been able to gain from what he's shown you through the first couple of days of practice?
He's a smart player. He's big and strong player. He's coachable, and he's always got a smile on his face. He takes everything. I've been nitpicking the hell out of him to let him know that I'm not going to let this Pro Bowl guy come in here and just cakewalk and take it easy. I'm going to be on his ass because he can improve on some things. He's not perfect. He's a damn good football player. Line one, make no mistake about it, but there's some things he can get more efficient at, better at, and he's learning the offense and how we do things. He's learning Bengalese. He spoke different languages. He's learning that, and he's learning how I coach and teach things from a technique standpoint. And some of the things he knows, he does, I'm giving him different tools to maybe use if he likes it. Or some things I'm saying, no, you are going to use this new tool because this one you have to do it how I'm teaching it. These other ones, if you like them, use them. If not, okay, that's fine. So he's learning those things. And then just like everybody, early, some rust, and we're always honing in on fundamentals constantly and making him understand maybe some of the things that defenses are trying to do to him to get around him and from a pass rush standpoint. So, but he's been great. He's a pro. I mean, he's always got a smile. He loves the history. He wants to know the deep why. Where'd this play come from? Why is it this way? He brings up old players. He's a fun guy to be around a coach for sure.
Jackson Carman in his third year.
Yeah.
What have you seen in his growth?
He's matured. His understanding of the offense is better. He's extremely athletic, so he's constantly trying to not be just an athletic guy, but be an athletic offensive lineman. That's the one thing he's constantly focusing on. But he understands the nuances better, from understanding the application of the techniques that go with each play, understanding what that concept of the play is a little bit better. So maybe his angle of departure on some certain runs, he knows how to adjust to those a little bit cleaner. He's quicker, and he can self-correct. I can come up to him, he's already telling me what he needs to fix on that last play. He knows now. A good pro can self-evaluate and coach yourself.
When he tells you that, is he usually right or all
He is usually right. He does. He goes, yeah, I got to get this. Yeah. So that's great that he can feel that as opposed to not sure. When you ask a guy, what'd you feel there? And they're like, did I lean too much? You know, no, this guy doesn't even feel it yet. So young guys, the rookie stuff. So,
one more on Jackson, and that is, Frank, that he's been through so many positions. He's done so many things along the offensive line. How does that help him more than, let's say, Jonah, who has, played left tackle, but that's essentially been his role?
Yeah, well, if you know what the guy next to you is doing, you might relate a little bit better in understanding how you fit in those concepts and how you're helping him out. Is why we have you do this. You're not just vacating and screwing him over by leaving this huge void that he's got to cover.
Right.
So I think him playing guards helped him in some of those areas and helps him grasp maybe the full offense a little bit better from an offensive line play, full offense. But I think that definitely helps him. And he's just so athletic, he can go either side and feel real comfortable, especially on the edge. He's a little bit more natural. It allows his athleticism to not be a detriment out there. He can recover. Maybe some of the other things might not be as clean. Like a guard, you don't have room for error because it's right there happening too fast. But he's got a little bit more space to let his athleticism shine.
Have you had a bigger tackle guard combo than Orlando and Cordell?
I don't think I ever have. I've had some big tackles, but not as big as him, and then definitely not with a guard. That's probably the biggest side of beef that I've ever got to coach in the NFL.
So